Welcome back to the Zero Weakness podcast, where we talk about how to be a better lifter, how to be a better coach, and everything in between. Make sure you subscribe and enjoy.
All right. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Zero Weakness podcast. We've got some very special guests today. Joining myself and Tom Bro, we got Alex Glenn and Jeremiah Uzel.
Oh, close.
Go, say it.
Uzel Versace.
Wow.
Ooh.
Uzel Versace.
Yeah.
Hey.
Designer.
Right.
Uzel Versace. The boys from Legacy Movement Gym down in Miami. Thanks for joining us, boys.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure to be here, my man.
What's been happening?
Tell him, bro. Tell him.
Well, a whole lot of community building out here at Miami for us at the moment. We've just recently opened our gym, obviously.
Actually,
so yeah, it's just been like mad time spent.
Sorry, before we get into that, tell the listeners a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, so you want to go first? G?
Alex, you're a veteran.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
a veteran.
I'll go
Rattled
first.
off.
Yeah.
So obviously my name's Alex Glenn. Come from a professional athlete background. Played in the NRL for 14 years and recently retired last year. Where, for me it was about finding purpose in work, and for me it was creating a community movement. And I've always said to Jerry, who's sitting next to me, like, he needs his own space to create a gym, and I wanted to do that too, so let's link up together. And we got very similar core values, and we are all about community and giving back to our people. So our alignment in opening our space, which we now have, which is Legacy Through Movement, our gym down in Miami, it's just it's amazing transition for myself, because it gives me a lot of purpose knowing that I'm adding value to our people and our community, which I always wanted to do. I'm still able to keep fit myself and train in an environment that we've created, which is amazing. And it gives me so much fulfillment going into this transition. So when people ask me, how does retirement look like for you? I couldn't be happier, man. I couldn't be happier, because I got so much purpose in what I do, man. I'm still heavily involved with the Broncos, where we go out to high schools. I work in the community team, so we go to over 55 schools over Queensland, and we educate our Indigenous kids around leadership, resilience, cultural identity, because it's important for them to understand who they are and where they come from. And then also we teach them about respect and relationships. And these are some cool things, because we're giving them life skills outside of school. Okay, so like we leave all the education stuff to the teachers, and we don't teach them about sports. It's about life in general, and how can you, understand yourself, and how can you go out there and chase your dreams. And we just facilitate that, bro. And seeing these kids come, like, this is my first year in that role, but seeing these kids come through and grab so much confidence in themselves, and they leave high school and they graduate high school this year with so much purpose and understanding of what they want to do after school. It's been amazing, because when I left school, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was lucky to chase the dreams and see my sports career come to fruition, but it doesn't happen like that for everyone. And opening these kids' eyes so that there's so much more potential out there for them, that's been an amazing thing. So that's been my life outside of footy now. I work with the Bronx in the community program. I give back to our community with Jezza and Legacy, and then I got family time on the outside as well. So life's good for me, man.
Nice, brother.
That's awesome. So Jeremiah, how did you get into it all? Like, what was your journey in terms of just like fitness and gym, from doing what you do to then coaching to now owning this gym and running this gym?
Yeah, sweet. So basically, at the time of everything coming up to fruition in fitness, I was working at White Water World, and there was a day, like a week out of Chrissy, and someone had run up to me, and it was like a code at the time, and a code is an emergency. And this guy's come up to me, he's like, "Oh, do you know first aid?" I'm like, yeah, I know first aid. He's like, "There's a guy over there, he's gone grey." I was like, "All right, sweet." So I ran over there, checked him out, and he was gone. Like, no breathing, completely grey. I went to open his mouth, he's having convulsions. and we called it in. I started doing compressions, and eventually we ended up getting him 2. He's got to sprint Chrissy with his family. From that moment, he was heavily overweight, and the supervisor I was working with at the time, Ross Patterson, he's like telling me how amazing the fitness industry was and how cool it would be if I could work in it with him and other people as well. So I decided to go through and do my personal training certs, like a lot of different people on the Gold Coast who have probably done their certs and, you know, have found the industry to be quite attractive.
Hang on, wait. Before you keep going,
Yeah.
so this guy that was like great,
Yeah.
what? Had he drowned, or was he just like really overweight and he just like had a heart attack?
So
or something?
legit, what happened was when he was down, I saw him on the ground. He had like all this fast food next to him on the floor. Legit, like buckets and buckets of fast food. And what had happened was he was having blood clots pass through his heart, and so he just completely stopped. It was pretty insane at the time.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's really funny actually. After that had happened, we got to see him again a couple months later, and he had lost like 20 kilos. Got to spend the rest of the Chrissy with his family. It was in hospital though, and you know that was just an insane thing. So the fact that when he actually come back, and that's when actually everything had kind of inspired me to go and join the industry to help people, you know, obviously lose weight and maintain healthy lifestyles and whatnot. So yeah, it was a pretty scary intro to what we do for the community now.
Yeah, far out. It's like not many people have an entry story like that, you know.
Absolutely.
A big wake up call.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry to cut you off. Keep
you're
going.
good.
So where did it go from there?
So from there, that position on, I went and did my certs. We did some work with a personal training company, NHFA, and it was really cool. From there, I got a job at an F45 at Labrador, working with Ray Brown. Do you know Ray Brown?
Yeah, he trained here for a while.
Yeah. So he was at the time he taught me a lot that I needed to know as far as, you know, building a business and all that type of thing goes with personal training. Jumped over from Labrador to Carrara F45, helped them with their open, and then after Carrara, I transitioned over to another gym called AMPM, which was open for a very close friend of mine and Alex's, who passed away 2018. From that position, we built AMPM up. AMPM's lease went out, and then Legacy took over. So yeah, that's kind of how it all come through. Is looking back on it now, it's like, wow, it's a crazy kind of timeline to come to the position that Alex and I are in now. It's really cool.
So is Legacy in the same building, or did you guys move it into another building?
Yeah. Legacy is in the same building. We were really lucky that the leasing agent was like, hey, we've got this lease, you can take over the lease, and then you can, you know, start the rebrand and whatnot. Obviously, we weren't able to bring over the AMPM label because the actual owner of that company had plans for it. Mm-hmm. So we decided to rebrand and do something different.
What were his plans for it?
As far as I know, off the top of my head, what we spoke about were a non-for-profit company or organisation that helped children who'd lost parents in accidents. Obviously, what happened to our dear friend Johan, it might have been around the same kind of thing to help kids who've been through something similar, because we are still quite close with Yogs' daughter, Kayana.
Mm-hmm. Thomas, are you familiar with what happened to Yogi?
You might have told me, but I'm not off the top of my head.
You boys mind talking about it on the potty?
No,
Not at all, man.
Tell that. So Johan, last name Offner?
Yeah, that's right.
Johan Offner. Have you seen him on Instagram or anything? He's super jacked, super strong, very athletic dude. Yeah. He was quite big on Instagram.
Yeah, big on it. He was like how do you even explain the dude, man? He was like a stunt god. Yeah,
he was like he competed in those like Ninja Warrior things and like really into calisthenics. He was like kind of the first.
He kind of brought it to Australia in a way, man.
Yeah.
He was definitely a pioneer for calisthenics and bodyweight training in Australia. That's for sure. He's still known to this day to be one of the greats. So he did really well.
Like he was just, you know, he went to America a lot to do a lot of stunt classes and training over there, and you know, fell in love with the calisthenics, brought it back to Burleigh, created some massive frequencies amongst, you know, the boys in our community in Burleigh. And you know, when I guess the biggest asset from Yogi or Johan is he was just the nicest person you would ever meet. You know, would never say a bad thing about anyone. Was just always had a big smile, and his vibe was infectious.
Yeah.
And when he passed, man, it was like it affected a lot of us, man, big time. And we try to implement a lot of yogi into who we are.
It's actually really funny that Alex mentions that, because we was talking about Henny on the way here, and you actually embody a lot of those different qualities, man. You know,
That's
like
sick.
you really do. Like, you can make someone feel so comfortable when you talk to them, and you are always super cheery, and it's super infectious as well. So hats off to you, man.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Bro.
I wish I embodied his body as well. I wish I got that. Yeah, so was it 2017 or 2018? He was filming. Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah. So back in the years, he was filming for. He was doing stuff
Bliss and
like Bliss and Esso. That's it, Bliss and Esso. And unfortunately, there were some things that that happened with the what do you call them, the props, the prop guns that were on set, and a few of them shouldn't have been on set from what I remember reading through, and then one of those guns shouldn't have been on set, the one that was used, and unfortunately when it was used, a little bit of shrapnel come off the backfire and pierce yokes through the heart. So
far out.
yeah, so really unlucky.
It's the same as Brandon Lee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, it's crazy.
Really sad.
Yeah, bro. It was a shock to everyone, man, because this guy was literally at the prime time of him coming through. So he just recently competed in the first ever Ninja Warrior,
Yeah, the
and
Australian
went all the
one,
way
yeah.
to the grand final. And at the time of his passing, they were literally just about to release the episodes, and then this happened. So they pulled all of his content out because they didn't want to have to, you know, face, I guess, all the questions that will come through about where's Johan Offner now.
Yeah.
You know, so they did, you know, a testimonial to him in the final series, but like this guy was just, he had the biggest future ahead of him.
Yeah.
Like biggest future ahead of him.
Absolutely.
And he was an inspiration to his daughter, inspiration to all of us. So, you know, when people talk about how'd you come up with the name Legacy through movement, it's all about him. You know, and it's all about, you know, the legacy we want to leave behind for ourselves as well. So we talked about Yogi's legacy and how can we carry this on. The word legacy just kept popping up in everything that we were talking about. You know, Yogi's legacy, my legacy, Jerry's legacy, and then also our trainers' legacies, and then our community's legacy. What legacy are you leaving behind for the people to remember you by? And that's how it just came through. And then obviously through movement, that just
Kind of what
you
we
know
do.
linked in.
You guys have done really well with your branding and your message as well, like you just said there. But like it's obviously starting a gym for you guys. That's the first thing you need to think of. Well, that's the first thing everyone thinks of, a name, and I feel like you guys have nailed it. Like it just sounds cool as well.
Thank you.
Legacy movement, that's sick. I've actually gone down and checked out this space, and I trained with you guys. It was a little bit too early for me.
You do the 4 a.m. session.
Yeah, I was there at 3:30 waiting. I was there early, and yeah, I felt so out of place. Hey, these guys are all freaks doing muscle ups, and it was awesome. It's so cool though.
Wish you showed up half an hour early to work. Anyway, no, I was actually going to ask about the name Legacy. So I'm glad that sort of tied in and you explained it, because it's really cool. And you know, I can only speak from our experience here and the other Zero gyms. It's really interesting to see, you know, borrowing that word, the legacy that you leave in people's lives, and you don't see it until it's extrapolated over time. So like the work that you're doing now to impact these people who come through your doors, it is going to stick with them, and it's going to stick with them forever. Like there's people that come through here that were here 8 years ago that don't forget a single thing about the impact that this place, the community, the trainers, whoever made on them back then. And it's incredibly humbling to be a part of these people's journeys, because you don't realize how impactful you can be on their lives and how that filters into their lives, their families, their friends, everything.
Absolutely. You
So
couldn't have said it better.
love the message.
Because that's something that you know, because I'm here Monday to Friday, 12 hours a day. No, I'm not. No, I'm
Put
here
in and work.
because I'm here Monday to Friday, and for me, you know, this is work. So sometimes I'm getting a little bit stressed out or whatever. But people come through the doors, you know, they choose to like this is their leisure when they walk in through the doors.
That's right.
So I try to have a conversation with everyone because, like you said, you're leaving your legacy behind. The way you interact with all your members, your clients, or whatever you want to call them. It's for some of these people, it's their favorite part of the day. I know for me, it's my favorite part of the day when I go train.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
For us, man, we like to create that safe place. Everyone's going through things in their journeys, and sometimes people just need an escape. And we want that, our legacy through movement, we want that place to be a home for them where they can come. There's no judgment there. They feel, validated and welcomed. They feel like they can be themselves. And from what we've seen over the last 3 months of operations is that we are like really having an impact on people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
We see them, like, a thing for us is like, we love to introduce everyone. Like, we want people to go up, introduce themselves to someone new and make it feel comfortable. So you eliminate that, I guess, weirdness of training around. You eliminate that awkwardness amongst each other. And then when you see them come the first time, there's the nerves, the anxiousness. And my auntie Steph was one of them. She's 53 now. And, she wants to get back into being fit and stuff. And she was like literally so nervous turning up to first day of training. Now she's on day 41. Training awesome. And seeing everyone's confidence and letting them know that your journey is your journey. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. You don't have to be a certain level of training to come train with us. Once we pass that barrier, man, everyone just like literally, you see the confidence come out. You see like who they are as people come out. And that's what really makes us, inspires us to keep doing what we're doing, man. Because like you said, Tom, it might be 8 years down the track. We'll have people come back and be like, I remember the first, session I come here, and to see the person I was then to the person I am now had a big influence. Like, that's what we chase, man. There's impact on people's lives.
So can you explain to everyone then what you guys actually do at the gym? Like, what would you label the style of training or what people get in terms of the actual training at your place?
Yep, absolutely. So we run, we call it functional training. We call it functional. I mean, all training's pretty functional generally. So basically what we run off is like a 3-day split in strength work. So we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which is strength, and then Tuesday, Thursdays are like conditioning and kind of playing around with the energy systems. And what we do in the gym on the Saturday is a mixture of all the workouts throughout the week in one big group training session. It's pretty cool. So it's all like as far as programming goes, I do the programming for the gym. The coaches go and send out and do the work in the mornings and the evenings. So it's if you were to call us a gym, I'd just call us a functional strength gym. There you go.
And then we got also, like, in the afternoons, we got specific skill training. So we do like muscle up training over the bar work. And then Tuesdays we got Shano, who's one of the best in calisthenics. He coaches elite Cali. Tuesday afternoons.
Like, in our opinion, like, we're hella biased, but in our opinion, he's probably the best in Australia as far as calisthenics goes. You just if you see the dude on Instagram, have a look at what he does, and you're just like, well, he does like single arm handstand.
It's hard to fathom what he does.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like, Shano, right?
It's actually crazy.
Calisthenics is wild. Do you guys know Lachlan? He runs Cali Fit in Brisbane.
Yeah, I know Lachlan.
Yeah, he's a good friend of Zero's.
Oh wow,
yeah,
so cool.
Yeah, I love watching that. Who was that really big guy in the States that went to prison?
Oh.
He was from prison, He was really jacked.
Cali Muscle.
Cali Muscle.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
When I think of calisthenics, I just think of Cali Muscle.
He's a legend. You mentioned before
talking about prison creatine. Sorry.
Yeah, and he ate ramen with tuna, eh?
Yeah.
Didn't he have a heart attack not long ago?
Probably.
Yeah. And his pre-workout was coffee and Pepsi Max.
Jerry wasn't there to save him.
Yeah. The hyphy mud. The hyphy mud. You mentioned before, like, the what style of training you call it. You said functional training in, like, quotation marks. I feel like people overemphasize the title of their training.
Absolutely.
Like, when people ask me what do I do for training, I just say I train.
Just fit and strong.
Yeah, I fucking do. I run, like, I had my, I run 70 kilometers a week. I lift 3-4 times a week. I swim. I just train. It doesn't have to have a title.
Yeah, like it's so true.
Like
hey,
someone
it's
said
so
to me the
true.
other day, they said, "Oh, are you still doing CrossFit?" And I was like, "What? I don't do CrossFit." They're like, "Oh, just because they saw me doing some cleans."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's,
Which is like weightlifting, right?
yeah. At the end of the day, it's just training. Like you don't need to
100%.
yeah, you don't really need to put a title in anything, and you don't have to pigeonhole yourself in a certain category. Like if you want to
absolutely.
do strength training, you do strength training. If you want to do a little bit of calisthenics, you want to chuck it in there, you just do it. Not
100%.
everything needs to be programmed and organized in a manner where it makes sense. Typically for progression,
Yeah.
like you just want to train and have fun,
100%.
You're
rip in with your friends,
You're
talk
gonna-
shit,
you're
lift
gonna
some weights.
Bring Tom to handstand class
Yeah.
tonight.
Sign me up.
Let's go.
I want to hear you guys talk a bit more about the community aspect, because I know, like from last time you were here, Alex, that everything you were talking about, from your NRL background, and then you announced opening the gym and everything sort of centered back to community, family, being together. How important has that been inside of your business model and what you're trying to achieve at Legacy?
Oh man, that pretty much is it. Like to a T. Like we were speaking about it on the way here, and as far as like a business model goes, Al and I really we do the small work, the admin work, and then the community kind of speaks for itself. And the reason why it's grown so well and it's grown quite fast is because the community value the same. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
So, the way like Alex said before, when people come in and there's obviously new people coming to trial the gym, and then you've got your gym veterans and your mascots, we get everyone to kind of integrate so that everyone feels welcome on the same level. And when you see it firsthand, it's actually a really, really special thing. And I think that's why the gym has done so well, is because we've kind of just left the growth up to the community itself, and they embody each other, and they really do make everyone feel really welcome. So it's epic, man.
It's been very organic too. From our side, we haven't really marketed at all. We've done social posts here and there, but we haven't marketed it at all, and it's just been an organic growth. I think word of mouth, people bringing in friends, just going, you know what, I train here, I feel at home here, and then we just see them keep coming through the door, which is amazing. But the things that we're talking about it on the way here, we really haven't even dipped our toes on what we want to do with our people.
Yeah, that's right.
And what we want to bring to Legacy. And I guess for us, we want to start doing some workshops and that. And our first one's going to be this weekend. We teamed up with the crew called Momentum, and they do a lot of work with bringing men together to create a space where you can just talk about anything, man, and not feel judged. Don't have any fear or I guess stigma around showing weakness.
Yeah, especially because it's like a day and age where we've all come through life, as men, and to speak something, with emotion that might, trigger some people is a bad thing, when really it shouldn't be. Masculine energy is masculine energy, feminine energy is feminine energy as well. So to be able to get men to speak openly about how they're feeling, especially within a group of other men, sometimes isn't the easiest thing to do. So we can break the stigma, like Al said. That would be a very special and powerful thing we can do for our community.
Yeah, bro. So literally, we're doing this event on Sunday morning. So if anyone's free and want to come through, it's literally we're getting together. We're going to do a workout, train together, and then we're going across the road and having a coffee and a yarn. And it's just pretty much, there's no workshop around mental health or anything. It's just creating an energy and a community where people, it's free of charge. People just come together, get to know each other, have a conversation. You never know where that conversation might go.
So true.
And these are the kind of things that we want to do for our people, is just bring good people around good people that either inspire you to be better or just makes you feel good. And because we talk about it all the time, you are who you hang around, and sometimes people don't have the best influence around them. So creating that space where men can come, and we want to do it for the women too. It's not just being a bias or sexist thing. We want to start with this crew and Momentum, and also professional athletes
Kind
later
of
down the
kind
avenue.
of like an introduction into, I suppose, what we want to do for the community. Yeah. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Everyone says community, they want to do stuff for the community, but when in terms of our people, like me and this fellow are so passionate about giving back.
Absolutely.
I think
Mm-hmm.
when I was here last time, I just blurted about I just want to give back to the youth, give back to our people, and it can be draining at sometimes, but it's just purposeful work and it makes you feel good. You can't put a price on that, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so part of why I wanted to ask that as well, like we get a lot of people who listen to this that own small gyms like we have, right? And you can have all the business skills in the world, all the marketing skills in the world, all the knowledge in the world, but these gyms really thrive on community as a point of difference. This is what makes Zero or Legacy feel so different to going into a world gym, is because there is that community there.
That's right.
And if you don't have the natural skill of pulling people together and a passion about your community, people are like, how do you do that? And like I wanted to hear what you would say, because people need to hear what you just said and see how easy it is.
Yeah.
Like it is as easy as there's a new person, partner them up with an older person in the community that knows the ropes. So they feel welcome immediately. You're talking about, bringing everyone together and not forcing them to speak, but creating an environment where people feel comfortable to connect and to speak and to be real, And so like, people need to understand that building a community is not that difficult. It just takes a couple of little steps. And
100%.
all of that is bred by passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And just being yourself too, Tom. Like your gym is so successful because you're genuine good people, bro, that care about others. And when you try and fake it, it gets exposed pretty quickly. So if you just be genuine and true to yourself and show a bit of care for others, that stuff goes a long way, man.
That's what I love about well, first of all, what I really liked about how you said you're doing a workshop is, we're so used to hearing workshops being, you're going to bring in a strength coach, you're going to teach them this, and that was so different. That really caught me off guard. It made me think, there's another avenue you can go down for workshops, which is really cool. And for me, that's like the first I've heard of that, where you're doing a workshop, and it's not on physical health or physical training, it's on mental health. So I think that's really awesome. And one thing that we do here as well, really well, like you mentioned about the community, we do 10-day free trials.
Cool.
They come in the doors. So the hardest part is getting them through the doors.
Yep.
Once they're in the doors, the community sells itself. They'll walk in here. They've only been to a commercial gym. They're ready to step their training up. They're like, okay, I'm a little bit bored of a commercial gym. I want to try something different. So they'll come in here. They'll notice straight away that it's a very small community. Everyone knows each other. Everyone says hi. We don't have a million squat racks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we kind of do. But, they'll be like, oh, shit, you guys just all work in together? Like, oh, wait, I can use this with you? Everyone talks shit. Everyone's here hanging out. Like, it's not uncommon for people to be here for 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah, unless they are on rack in Tom's bar.
Yeah. Putting away his dumbbells. So
70 for 11.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Gross.
Was it last week when I asked you what you could do?
I can't remember.
Are you going to do the 80s next week?
Nah, I'm not ready for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Mate, you just punched out 11 reps on 70, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I'm dieting. Give me at the end of next block, so 6 weeks, I'll try the 80s.
Yeah? All right, sweet.
Sheesh.
And then I quit.
Retired from the dumbbells.
Retired.
But yeah, like I was saying, it's just it's like with the small gyms you mentioned as well, Thomas. It is the community. It's all about the community. Otherwise, all these guys would go train at these fancy, shiny gyms, with all all the bells and whistles and all that jazz. But when it comes to training, you don't really care about all that stuff.
100%, bro. I think for those small gyms out there, man, is a tip from us is just like we're not super successful or anything, but a big thing that's worked for us is don't chase the memberships. It will come organically.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, if you express and add value to people's lives, that's what brings people in your door. Adding value to others.
Yeah, I mean, it's quality over quantity, right?
Absolutely.
And then that quality turns into lifetime value.
Yeah.
Because those people don't leave, and those people bring the most people in as well. So what date did you officially open?
June 1st.
June
1st we opened, yeah.
So it's only been open a few months.
Yeah.
Has it exceeded expectations of how you thought it was going to go? Or is
Yeah.
it about on point?
Absolutely. It absolutely
It's
has.
exceeded,
Yeah, it really
in
has.
a good way.
In a really good way. Like, people look at Al and us and like they joke and they laugh. They're like, oh, boss man, but we don't see ourselves as that way. Like if anything, we're a support pillar. And if we can help, whether it be a member, a coach, or even someone outside of the gym, we're going to do it. yeah, I think when it comes to obviously owning and operating a business like a gym, man, it's absolutely exceeded our expectations, because the amount of lives that have changed since we've been here, including, Auntie Steph, Alex's auntie, it's like such a fulfilling feeling. Like, wow. And I can absolutely see why you want to keep punching out zeros, bro, because it's so cool. So cool.
What was the biggest shock as part of the whole thing? What was the thing that came as the biggest surprise?
Bro, I think the hard work prep, leading into even opening the doors.
You guys did a big fit out.
Yeah.
I followed that whole thing.
Oh,
You,
bro.
you basically demolished the whole place and rebuilt it, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
man.
I think the biggest in the face wow was council.
Oh. R.I.P. Cut it there, CJ. We're done. No kind words from here.
Man. That's a challenging topic, hon. I'm sure you understand why.
Yeah. Council's fun, especially
bro.
Gold Coast City Council is different to Brisbane, and then
Savage.
different to all the other of all the city councils that I've encountered with this issue and friends and other. Gold Coast is the hardest by far.
Savage, hey, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's an ongoing thing for us. But yeah, I think the biggest eye opener for us was literally the fit out, the demo work that went into it. Like it was a big demo. We pulled out down a massive mezzanine. We did it in 4 days, and like our mates that are builders, they're like, man, it will take you at least a week to 10 days, and we did it in 4, bro. And cleared it out. We were wrecked after it, but I think it makes us and helps us really admire where we're at right now. People go, anyone can start a business, but unless you put the hard work into it, man, you don't really appreciate where you are now today without
absolutely.
the hard work and foundations
100%.
that were built into it. So that was definitely an eye opener, bro. Because we ain't businessmen, we don't have a background in business. We just winged it, man. Jumped on our opportunity and just went, this is what we want to do. How can we do it? And we just winged everything, bro.
Absolutely.
And still to this day, we're constantly learning, but it's really helped us appreciate our space that we have. And there was a moment where I sat in the gym by myself eating my sushi, and I had a little tear in my eye, and I messaged this guy, and I was like, bro, I'm just like emotionally happy with the hard work that we put into now, and just looking around the space, I was like, wow, this is like come to fruition.
Yeah, I remember that message.
I promise you, it doesn't change.
Wow.
I never get to close this place. Like almost always, I leave. There's still people here, and it happens very rarely. But after the comp on what day? Sunday. On Sunday, Father's Day. After the comp on Sunday, I was the one to turn off the lights, and every time I do that, it's like, it's like it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Just a cool feeling.
Just circling back to how you guys, joked about you guys being boss men and that. When you've worked for someone that acts like a boss, it's really disheartening. But when you guys,
Sorry.
no, I was gonna say when you lead from the
where's that Alico bar?
but when you lead from the front, it's so much different. Like, you know what I mean? You actually respect your boss and you want to work hard for them. So when we run these fucking huge comps, we did nationals. That was 4 days of
crazy.
It was awesome, but it was fucking hell. When your boss is in the trenches as well, lugging shit around, doing the shit that you don't want to do, but you're like, fuck, I got no excuses. My boss is doing it too. He's not sitting there going, all right,
you.
And he's not telling us to do it as well. He's fucking doing the shit. It's like, oh, fuck. I better do something too then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
100%, bro.
that's awesome. Kudos to you, Tom, bro. Being a good boss.
Thank you.
Leader.
So what is the future looking like? I know it's only just started out really, but when something exceeds your expectations like that, it kind of throws a spanner in the works in terms of your plans. Like it starts to spark ideas of where things should go or where they could go. So in the immediate future, what are things looking like for Legacy?
The immediate future. Oh, geez. Man, what's really funny is I told Cap this the other day, so we call him Cap. And I've had a few people now hit me up. Someone hit me up to open a Legacy in Sydney and what, and I was just like, nah. Because like the immediate future really requires our attention to be in the gym that we're at the moment and solely in that space. As far as growth goes and expanding that, man, only time can tell really. I think at this stage, it's really trying to fine tune, one, the operations of the gym, and two, continue to build the community as much as we possibly can to create more of a space for people that want to come and be themselves as well as get a good workout in.
And I think for us, like, we have all these ideas that we want to implement, Tom, in order to add value to our people. And the biggest thing for us is, like, it's not just in a physical way. It's like we want to add value in a mental capacity and also your lifestyle and your wellness. So there's a lot of avenues that we want to dive into. And workshops is one of those things. It's not like a training workshop.
Absolutely.
It's nutrition workshops. It's well-being workshops and
collabing with other gyms, i.e. Zero Weakness, hopefully to come through and do some cueing and tapping work on technique and form would be amazing. That's the kind of world we want to live in.
100. And we're all about that inner peace, man. We got yoga at our gym. That brings a lot of zen into our gym, and shout out to Reese and Darwin for what they do with our community. But there's a big holistic way of adding value to our people that we want to implement through Legacy. We just haven't started, bro. We literally haven't dipped the toe in yet.
Yeah, what would your advice be? How many studios do you know now?
We just announced the 5th, and there's a sixth one opening in January as well.
That's awesome.
Was it always your goal to have
Never.
more than, where?
Never. So I had the gym for 8 years before I opened the second one, and only in the last 2 years have we gone from 2 to 6.
Yeah.
Bro, I was. How many employees do you have now?
I don't know, 17, 18?
I was his only employee at one stage.
That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2020. 2020 is when we went more than one.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's
You're like the Australian Hermosi.
Oh, bro, I call him Tom Brosey.
Tom Brosey.
No, it's really cool to hear people, to hear that people are reaching out to you and saying, I want to be a part of this. And it's really hard because a lot of people will reach out because they're like, this is successful. I want a slice of the pie, rather than I want to carry that legacy on.
Yeah, for sure.
And my advice, I guess, would be like, just like you said a second ago, you don't even know what it is yet. You've got years to develop your systems, to develop your processes, to understand how to take you guys out of the business. Not to say that you're going to leave the business, but how to have the business exist in exactly the way that you have created it without you being present.
Yeah.
Like, how do you take your passion, your drive to build community, your understanding of training, your training method, everything that you have created, and be able to put that into someone else? Because if you just let someone open another legacy, it's just going to be their legacy, not your
100%.
legacy.
For sure.
That's the hardest thing with expanding, is like, how do you take what you have built and then put it into other people? And it's taken me 8 or 9 years to work out how to do that. Once you figure it out, then you've got opportunity to have your legacy carry on through a bigger and broader reach, which is fantastic. But just keep doing what you're doing. Like,
Amazing.
it's obviously growing amazingly quickly, organically. You're bringing in the right people. You're building the right community. Like, that is what you just keep doing for the time being, right?
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Thank you very much.
And I think for us is like, we don't compare our gym to anyone else's. We just focus on adding value to our people, man.
There's sorry to interrupt. There's no one you can compare to, though. You guys are literally your own identity.
Sounds very unique.
Yeah, it's very like that's the vibes I got when I went there too. Like, there's no comparison.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Well, something cool you might be proud of is like a lot of advice that James has given me as far as training goes is used in Legacy. As far as league strength and goes and technique and whatnot. We apply those lessons that Henny gave me, a couple of years back now.
Yeah.
And they're still applied to this day in the gym. So thank you.
Your legacy is in our legacy, brother.
Hey, I like that. Bit of integration.
Hey,
The Hennessy.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't say that.
I like that. Sorry, I interrupted you, Alex. Keep going.
No. I was just saying, like, I think for us, a lot of people tend to compare themselves and compare their businesses to others and how can I do it better. But we just go along our ways, man, and just keep focusing on us and adding value to our people. And that's what drives us and directs us, man.
Absolutely.
We don't have to race against time. There's not a specific time where we need to be hitting this or creating a different avenue for our people so we can get more members. And it's just like, man, we go at our own pace. We're competing a bit against ourselves, and that's all our focus is, man.
Is there... did you ever compete in calisthenics? Are there calisthenics comps or anything like that?
There are comps now, and it's just actually something I've been like, kind of wanting to ask you and James. Is that, have you heard of these street lifting comps that are happening over in Europe now? So these guys are doing a back squat, a weighted muscle up, a weighted pull up, and a weighted dip, and that's their total. And they're like, their squats are, they're okay. Like they squat around like 90 kilo division, about 250, 260. But, that's not their main game. They're doing like 100 kilo pull up weighted, 170 kilo dips weighted. So like those are the comps that if we were to do something as far as calisthenics goes, we'd probably go down that line, as well as like a freestyle trick competition as well.
How do you weight a muscle up, like with a vest?
A weight belt.
And do a muscle up?
Yeah, bro. Legit.
That just sounds scary.
It's crazy. I think the top one is like 42 kilos.
Don't you hit yourself on the balls?
That's what I thought.
There's so much weight just dangling, flying around.
Bro. Maybe in Europe they don't have
Big nuts.
cojones.
Yeah.
They're all taking gear.
So like it's one of those biggest questions for myself is like doing a few programs now, strength wise and powerlifting programs over the time of training. That specific type of training is like how does someone do a pull up even with 100 kilos attached to their waist? It just absolutely blows my mind.
I struggle to get my own body over the bar. Jesus.
Can you do a muscle up?
I can.
Damn.
Just one. On the best day. Now I watch these guys just rep out on sets.
Smash them out.
It's actually unreal. I was at the gym the other day, and there's this dude. You guys might know him. His name on Instagram is Dan Gordon Kelly.
Dan Gordon.
He's only a little fella, but they do like an AMRAP set of pull-ups at the end of their sets. When I think AMRAP, I'm like, okay, 15, 20, whatever. This guy literally went for about 2 minutes.
No.
I was like, nah, this guy's unreal. And then I found him on Instagram, because that's how I found him on Instagram. I was like, I got to find this guy to watch his stuff, and he's fucking unreal at calisthenics. And he just did so many different variations of pull-ups, and it was unreal.
He's local.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Dan, where you at?
Yeah. But because I'm so fascinated, I've told you, I'm so fascinated by calisthenics at the moment. So I've been deep diving in, practicing some skills like some handstand work, doing all my pull-ups with a false grip and things like that. Just playing around on rings and so I'm obsessed with it. There's a dude on YouTube I follow called Chris Heria.
Yeah, Chris Heria.
Yeah.
It's really funny you say that because Chris Heria and Yogs back in the day had a bit of bad blood.
Really?
Yeah, legit. Because they were around the same time. They were both blowing up.
True.
Real funny.
Man, that's crazy. Crazy to think where Chris is now.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, that's probably where Yogi would have been as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If not more.
Yo.
Because calisthenics got huge there for a while, right? Is it still big here?
There is a big calisthenics community still in Burleigh too, and they link up Saturdays, Sundays, and they just go down to the bars and swing around and do their thing. But as far as like a competitive thing goes, I don't really think so. Hey, I don't think there's really many competitions. I think they run 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah. Sorry, you go.
I was just going to ask. I was going to change subject.
I was just going to ask, what does a calisthenics competition look like?
So they'd normally do like a reps and sets type of thing. They do like a weighted competition, and then they do like a freestyle and flow competition where they do like gymnastics tricks and all that type of thing. I think, calisthenics and where it came from was street workout. Kind of developed this over time in Europe, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just, I think at the moment it's super hard to coach, unless you have a gymnastics coach who wants to go and do that, because they're quite set in their ways and they don't really want to do things if they're out of form. I think that's where it kind of slowed down the whole growth of the sport.
Yeah, that's I've actually got a client who's unreal at calisthenics. You know Lim?
Yeah.
Have you seen his Cali stuff?
Nah.
He's a freak.
Really?
Yeah. So I've got a client. I actually want him to teach me some Cali stuff as well.
Yeah, sick.
So he's really good. But we're prepping for Worlds at the moment. So we've got Worlds in 4 weeks from Sunday. Yeah. So he's like he'll pull like over 3.5 times body weight.
Yeah. Strong.
He's
Strong kid.
very strong. He's only 21 years old, 20 years old. I can't remember, but he's really good at calisthenics.
He pulled three times his body weight.
Yeah, 3.5
Wow.
or something, something nuts.
Yeah, he's like 60 kilos and
Fred-
pulls in the 200s.
Bred different as zero.
I was gonna ask, like, what's a day in the life of the legacy staff, like for you boys? Like, obviously you're getting up at very early and doing your own training at 4 o'clock.
Yep. So it's actually a little bit sad because the council has kind of spoken from the public community, and now the dawn service has been chalked. We got a bit too rowdy in the mornings at 3:30 a.m. and the oldies next door didn't really appreciate it. So my own training will start at around that time, but it's pretty much just myself at the moment.
Yep.
And Cat rolls through. He's got this big camera in people's faces, just getting the capturing the moment of them through an echo bike. Do you have echo bikes here?
We've got. Is that a Rogue one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got one. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the facials coming already.
Yeah.
And throughout the morning, the classes run from 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. and whether it be strength or conditioning on the day. Then it's like a funny little commune at 7 a.m. We either go get coffee at the cafe across the road, or we're all just lying on the track in the sun.
Getting some sun.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So we have our classes 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. classes, and we have a little break. Me and this guy like to catch up on Mondays, and we go through our directors' planning for the week. Yep. Touch on what went well last week, what didn't go well. Then we got another class on 9:30. Where a lot of mums come through. We got a creche at the gym, so they can put their bubs there and train in peace for 45 minutes. And then during the day, man, we just punch out some admin stuff, whether we go home and do it, and then come back in the afternoon for the skills acquisition.
Is that what we're calling it?
Bit of Call of Duty.
I was about to say, I know you play games.
Yeah, bro. We love getting some games in, so we make sure we do our work first, then we have a little bit of us time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Us time on the days where I'm not working with the Broncos and that.
Yeah. This is where, see, you said labels are bad. This is where labels are good, is team development.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
Team development. That's going to help at tax time as well. Spend $600 on new PlayStation games in 1 week. It's team development. Write that shit off. So then what time are the evening classes?
4:30 and 5:30, and that's in the evenings is when we run our skill-based classes, the muscle-up class, elite calisthenics, and handstands as well. So.
Yeah.
And then after that, home, dinner, bed?
Home to bed. So
Man, this guy goes to bed early.
yeah, 6:30 I'm in bed.
Nice.
Very.
What time do you wake up?
2:45.
With an alarm, or that's just when you wake
No,
up?
that's just when I wake up.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're on true Hormozy time. There you go. You got to post that shit.
Hell yeah. So if I don't get to him, like if I need to message him, if it's not done by 4-5, then I got to speak to him tomorrow because I know my man's getting ready for bed.
Yep.
Whereas my bedtime routine's like all over the shop, man. When you got 3 kids, you cannot keep a routine like that, bro. Everything goes all up.
You're a leader on Grand Theft Auto too, so you got that community to look up.
So many communities. That's right.
It's funny because in my household as well, everything's off by 7:30.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm the last to bed in my household, and I'm usually in bed around in between 7 and 7:30.
That's crazy.
But Tezzy and John, they're in bed at 6:30, 7. Yeah, every night as well.
They're getting up early and running and
Yeah, they're early morning grinders as well. It's cool. I'm always the last up, and I wake up if I start at 6, it depends what I'm doing, but if we're running early, we'll get up at 3:15, be on the road by 4, but we'll be, I'm the last up, and I start work at 6. I'm up at 4:30, 4:45, and I'm still the last up.
That's like a new generation of human. Hey?
Yeah, but lots of people say it's a Gold Coast thing.
Mate, it's
legit.
Yeah, like it's a Gold Coast thing to be up super early. Like you go to Sydney, Melbourne, people don't get up early because it's cold and.
So next time someone says, "Oh man, you get up early," I'm from the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
it's so true, bro. Because I lived in Brizzy, man. Like it's lifestyle in Brizzy to here is totally different. Tom, you live up there. It's different, like avenue, man. Like when I was in Brizzy, man, there was no way I was waking up as early as we do down here. And if you go for a walk at 5 a.m, you'll see half the Gold Coast in Brizzy
100.
doing a stroll. everyone's happy as, and there's something about being up before the sun comes up.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty powerful, man, and it starts your day in the best way, bro. And yeah, when you wake up, like when I wake up after 6, man, I feel like groggy as hell. Like, but when you wake up at 3:30, 4, it's like you're alive, man. You're ready to go. And when you watch the sunrise come, bro, it's just magical, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Magical.
It's crazy because my brother was telling me when he was here, he's like, he loves how cafes are open so early. I'm like, what time are they open back home? 7 o'clock, 7:30. You know, here they're open 5, 4.
Yeah.
Some of them are open at 4:30.
Yeah.
Because the Gold Coast is just, we're built different.
Built
Southeast
different,
Queensland.
Yes, sir.
But what does a week of training look like for you boys? How are you guys training at the moment? What are you doing? How strong he is?
Oh, I did
This guy pound for pound, man.
6 reps on a 60-kilo dumbbell.
Ooh, Tom Brosey. Got some comp.
A man.
Cannot squat at all.
It's overrated.
Hey, thank you.
Some of the things this dude does, man, it just like blows my mind, man. Like, I've trained at a different, you know, at high levels, but I watched this guy train, and the weights that he pulls, like his deadlift and that raw doing over 200 deadies. Like, I know the numbers are different here, like use a big weight here, but seeing this guy, what are you, 80 kilos?
Yeah.
80 kilos deadlifting over that, no belt, no wrist strap.
That's just props to Zero. Like I said, my bro. Like I even said to Al, like a lot of the cues and techs that I use in my own training, I learnt from here. You know, even just watch it a lot from now to the Melbourne strength culture. Those those boys, those guys are very, very cool. And I think that's just like the beauty of social media now. Like you have so much access to
For sure.
to all this information. So I love you, man. Thank you, Cap.
Nah, it's all good. But like this dude he's consistent with his training. Like me, I'm all over the shop because obviously my schedule's like crazy. So I'll get training in where I can. Started going down to Cali in the afternoon and started doing the Cali work at 5:30 with Nossi and the boys and the girls too, man. The girls are crazy in that class, bro. But yeah, I get training in where I can. I try and train once a day. But this guy is relentless. 2:30 is in the gym, bro, every day. Every day getting his work. And that's what I love about him, man. He's got good structures and he takes time out of his day to get his self-care time, bro. And that's important, man.
Absolutely.
It's important.
Man, I got no excuses then because when I start work at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., I always think, fuck, all right, well, now I'm going to have to run this Arvo or now I'm going to train this afternoon. But it's like, nah, I just need to get up a little bit earlier.
Bro.
There's something really sad about your alarm going off the same day that you set it though, eh? It's nuts. There's this ultra endurance run in Brisbane.
Yep.
He goes to bed at like 6 o'clock and he gets up at 11 p.m.
What?
It's like
Yes.
sleep deprivation.
Yeah,
training?
so he gets up the same day because he works like an hour away, works in Bribey Island, but he's an endurance runner. So he has to get about, 300 kilometers under his legs every single week, but he makes it fucking happen.
Crazy.
So even though starting work at 6:30, that's early, but he's like, nah, I need to get 40 kilometers, 30 kilometers under my legs before work because I'm not going to be able to do it tonight because I got kids, I got da-da-da-da.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
It's crazy. It all comes down to mentality, man, and what you want to, do yourself, bro. And you're the only one that will stop you from getting up at those times or restricting yourself from training, man.
It's like when you get into that negotiation with yourself and you start doing it, it's like, what am I even doing? Just get up.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, man, is like people always ask myself, and you probably get it all the time, they're like, why do you train so hard, bro? What are you training for? And it's like, you don't need a purpose to like go in and train. Like you were saying before, Henny, with workshops and that, or, I just train to train, bro. I train because it's good for my own mental state and it makes me feel good. I don't need it. Like coming from my career, we train to try and be dominant on the field. But for me now, it's just training is like part of my DNA. Like I just enjoy training, bro, and the mental endorphins it gives myself.
Move good, feel good.
Yeah, bro, absolutely. So I always get hit up all the time about why do you train so hard or why do you train so early in the morning? It's like, that's my self-care time and that's me giving back to me.
100. You just love the gym. That's what it comes down to.
You love the gym and you love that feeling afterwards. Even if you go for a run, even if you go for a swim in the ocean, bro, you just love that feeling.
Yeah. Like my what I do for my training at the moment is my running. That's all structured and periodized. We've got a running coach who writes our programming every week, so we follow that to a T. But in the gym, like, because I love training, so I'll come in, I'll write down what I'm doing. I don't even have a program. I just, I take like a very agile, periodized approach, where I kind of I just, what's the word? I just daily undulate. It's just daily undulated periodization. So I'll just write down in my notes what I'm going to do. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of progressive manner. Last week I did X amount of pull-ups with this weight. How am I going to progress that? Am I going to up the weights? Am I going to up the reps? So I just kind of structure it like that. But I just pick exercise I enjoy, and then I'll pick a few that I hate, make sure I do them, and then I've kind of won. I've won the battle there. Like you said with the negotiation thing, I always talk about. I say this to Bridget all the time. Like, write that contract with yourself. Don't break that contract. You said you were going to go swimming today. Go swimming. What's stopping you?
That's it.
Yo, 100. And only you will stop yourself, not anyone else. It's easy to find excuses, man, but when you have non-negotiables for yourself, bro, nothing can get in the way.
You got to look past, look in the past at what you've achieved in really tiny baby steps in those moments as well. It's like, okay, I set the alarm for 3 a.m. Okay, I'm awake. I've ticked these 2 boxes. It's like, what's next? Okay, I stand up. I'm out of bed. Rather than waking up and being like, I have to run. Or I have to get up and go to the gym. I don't want to do that. It's like, no, one step at a time. Tick that off. I'm standing up. I've had a shower.
Absolutely.
I'm in the car. I've turned the key on. You've ticked it off. You're done. And so I can't remember who spoke about it. I can't remember if it was on the podcast or I heard it in a book or some, I don't know, Goggins style thing. But it's like, if you want to, create a habit around saying getting up at 4 a.m. and running, get it in the habit of setting the alarm, going downstairs, ready to run, then go up and go back to bed.
Yeah.
And most of the time, you're going to go downstairs and be like, well, I'm here. I've made it this far. I may as well take the next step kind of thing. And you just keep doing it. If you do turn around, you do it the next day. And you keep doing it until it turns into a habit and you tick that box. And just like you say, training's, it's not negotiable. You love it. It's a part of your life. And you'd say the same and you'd say the same. It's a habit. It's even like if we don't love it, we still do it because it's a habit. It's like if I don't do it, my routine, my day, my structure, my life is just wrong. It has to be there. It's just like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast or whatever. It's just a habit. You have to do it.
100%.
So
like we've had competitions and that, and competitions, they take it out of you. They're draining, you're shifting shit around, you're moving, you're being social.
Long days,
But then I see Thomas and Daniel, once we've set the gym back up, we put the gym back together, Thomas and Daniel, they're training. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, that's a habit.
Yeah, hard.
To me, that's like, oh, that's a non-negotiable. Even though they've had a shit day of lifting shit and spotting, loading, they're still training.
Absolutely.
Like, there's no questions asked. No, we train on Saturdays or Sundays. We're still training.
That's it.
So it's cool.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys have any you guys good for time?
Yeah, for sure.
Who do you guys look up to in the fitness industry, or do you guys have any people that
Tom Brosey.
Tom Brosey.
Look somewhere else. He'll go backwards quickly.
In the fitness industry, I mean, in the sports industry, Cap 100%, was a godsend to what happened, and and our community are so lucky to have him. In the fitness industry, obviously Tom is one of those people and one of those idols you would look up to. A lot of people down in the Melbourne strength culture that I follow. Jamie, he's the man. Yourself, Henny. I think people nowadays who are putting out the correct information, and that's who I look up to. Whether they've got 1 million followers or they've got 1,000 followers, if you're putting out the good information, the information that's not going to hurt anyone and it's going to actually help people progress, that's who I look up to for sure.
Yes, sir. I love looking up and watching a lot of professional athletes. OBJ is one of my favorites, not because of like the star he is. Obviously, he comes to my attention when he comes to the Giants because I'm a big New York Giants fan. But all the controversy that he's gone across with injuries, changing clubs, to being now a championship, like players like that, I like that. I like players that have to work hard to get to where they are.
Overcome a hell of a lot of adversity.
100%. 100%. So I get a lot of inspiration from people like him and, the greats like Michael Jordan and Tom Brady and stuff. Like Tom Brady's, he's late 40s. still competing at a high level, bro. And you watch his documentary that I watched on YouTube, bro, and he takes all his wide receivers onto his own camp. And they can do it because they're getting paid a mozza, but he does a lot of work outside of actual training and club training. And it just goes to show why these guys are at the best of the best, because they put so much time and investment into what they do, bro. And that's the same as like what we did, man, to a different scale. But being a professional athlete, it takes every minute of the day to do it. You know, you train twice a day, then you go home, you do rehab, you do physio, you do recovery and nutrition, everything, sleep routine hygiene. All these things take a lot of energy, man, and a lot of commitment to do it. So I look up to sports athletes all the time, bro. And people go, oh, you just get paid too much. It's like, man, this is a lifestyle that we do. And you don't see half the things that we go through to be out there doing the sport that we can at the best that we can, bro. So yeah, I look up to a lot of those, man. I get heavily inspired by stories like Daniel Carter's documentaries, you know, and athletes like that, where you see it in depth of what it took for them to get to where they are and stay where they are. Because we all see and we judge from what we see in games, and it's like, man, this guy's a superstar. But then when you get a real big insight in a documentary like that, and you see what it took and what they do and constantly do, bro, and then also the commitment it takes from their partners and their families to travel the world as well, that's what inspires me, bro, and gives me goosebumps.
Dan Carter, for me, he's top 5 athlete of all time.
Bro, he's a gun.
Yeah, and I watched his whole career. Like, I watched him because he debuted the same year as LeBron James.
Yeah,
so I still watch LeBron's career. But yeah, so I've watched Dan Carter's whole career, and the level of professionalism, the way he carries himself, it's just unreal. It's cool to see that you're looking outside your realm as well. Like, you're not directly looking in the fitness industry for inspiration. Like, because I was listening to a podcast the other day about Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant, the way he moved on the court, he took inspiration from soccer.
100%.
So he watched all these soccer players and was like, look how they move off the ball. This is the way I need to face when I'm off the ball and things like that. So it was really cool. He was like kind of he was very innovative in that sense, you know, looking elsewhere. How can I move better on the court? Soccer players move like this, the way they turn their shoulder, the way they move over their shoulder. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, bro. I guess for me, like you just said, man, there's so many things that you can implement to your own training from other avenues of sport. And I just love learning, bro. I know I'm not in the industry anymore, but I just love watching how people train for things come out. Like UFC fighters are just assassins, bro. They legalize assassins that could literally kill anyone if they wanted to. And the way they train is like nuts, bro. And then I watch basketball athletes like Patty Mills is a good mate of mine, and you watch him train. He's in his 14th season now in the NBA, and it's just like, bro, it's so cool to see how they train in the preseason leading up to their seasons going ahead, and the amount of games they play. And I really love seeing how athletes prepare for their battle, if you call it, leading into a season. It just really, it inspires me, and it keeps me, I guess, chasing for more.
One of the things you said before, like you clearly made the distinction between people who are there, but people who stay there at the, you know, professional athlete level. In your time and experience, you know, over a decade as a professional athlete, is there anyone who spends that long there that doesn't work their ass off for it? You know, the people that just end up there? Because I can only say from the outside looking in, but like from the outside looking in, my assumption would be that to stay there, you have to work hard.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. There's no one that is not in a professional realm for so long. They don't stay there without putting the work in, regardless. Like, you have to work every single day. Because you think about it this way. Every year, there's someone that's coming to try and take your position. And they're younger, they're faster, they're stronger. So you have to level up in yourself, and you can't automatically think coming into another year, you can do what you did last year. It don't work like that. So for me, when we're in off season like this time right now, I'll go and train with Cole at Heartbreak Conditioning, and we'll do some boxing training. We'll do totally different style training, just to change up the way that I train and add value to my skills coming into the next season. So you obviously have to adapt, and you have to implement different structures to stay at that level. But as you get older, you have to incorporate better nutrition and better like recovery, man. You know, as a youngster coming through, bro, I used to party. We'll play Friday night, I'll party Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Turn up to training Monday and can train the house down. There's no way in hell I was able to do that when I hit my 30s, you know, late 20s. My body was just buggered after a football game. So you really had to make sure you're ticking off all the boxes in terms of your nutrition and recovery and sleep to make sure that you are able to do that the next week and back it up and back it up. In terms of sport, to be able to be the best of the best, you have to be consistent with everything you do on a daily basis. And you have to have non-negotiables. So there ain't no days where you can get up and go, you know what, I'm not going to train as hard because your spot will be taken the next week. So that's what I loved about it, competitiveness. I'll compete to the end of the day, man, and I'll be a smart ass about it and have fun about it. Like you see that rivalry, prime example, Penrith and Para, that rivalry between them. And everyone says that Jerome Lilley is like an arrogant prick. But I've met him firsthand, and he is one of the nicest people you'll meet. But he is competitive as fuck. Like,
I love that, eh?
Mate, hell yeah. And I'll never like down it, bro. You can love him, you can hate him, but those boys are competitive as hell. And the way they performed in the grand final, man, like I want to see the Bronx there doing it. But you got to commend them for the way that they played in that game, because they were just professional to a T, and they didn't give Para any sign of scoring tries or anything. So yeah, competitiveness is in my nature, and it's always in professional athletes' natures, and I just carry that through my life, man.
It's funny you mentioned that, like how people think Jerome Lilley is a grub. I've got a grub 13, a starting 13 that people call grubs. And every single one of them, they're all really fucking fierce competitors. They're the guys you want on your team.
100%.
They're the guys you hate playing because, you know, they'll sledge you, they'll talk shit, they'll throw in a cheap shot. But everyone wants one of them guys on. You can't not want those type of guys on your team
100%.
That go to war every single game. That, you know, all they want to do is win.
Yep.
There's a reason why they're like that. They're winners. They got a different mentality.
Prime example, Paul Gallen, Justin Hodges. Two of the biggest grubs in the game, but they compete
Hard.
fucking till the full-time whistle goes, bro. And like, I know them both off the field, best dudes in the world. But when you step over that line or they step in the ring, it's go time, man. It's go time. Like, whoever's in your way to get to where you want to go in your professional career, like, you'll take them out regardless. And then once the full-time whistle goes, you're best mates again. But you're true, Henny, bro. Some of the biggest grubs are like the biggest competitors, man, and you want them in your team regardless.
We're talking about, you know, doing leaving no stones unturned for professional athletes. That's like in powerlifting. All the good powerlifters or anyone that's making really good progress, they leave no stone unturned. They follow. They've got a coach, so they've hired a coach. They've done the first thing. They adhere to their program. They manage their nutrition. They manage their sleep. You know, they're literally doing everything they can to get stronger.
Yep.
So yeah, when people say, "Oh, he's a freak show," it's like, he's not really a freak show. He works really hard and he does everything right.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to extract out of that. It's really easy to look at legacy, just like you've had this experience. People look at that, they're like, it's successful, I want a part of that. They're like, and you're on the other end, like, okay, are you willing to get up at 3 a.m. every day? Are you willing to demolish an entire place and rebuild it? Are you willing to put the effort, the time, the love into the community? Are you willing to show up when you don't feel like showing up, when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're sore? Like, people don't have that. They just see the success and they want the success.
Yeah, so true.
And it's so important for people to understand in any endeavor, sporting, business, life, that it's just a case of grinding and working hard, and that the people that you put on a pedestal as successful by whatever definition it is, are successful because of the work that they've put in
100%.
and continue to put in.
That's it. That's kind of the common ground that they have. Hey, it's
Exactly.
just hard work and work ethic. For sure, it's crazy.
You couldn't have said it better, Tom. That's in
100%.
every aspect of life, man. In businesses, as a dad, as a husband, as a partner. You put in the hard work, man. You reap what you sow, bro. Reap what you sow. There's no way trying to mask it. There's no shortcuts in getting to, you know, being a successful person in life in general. You got to do the work, and only you can do it. You can't rely on anyone to inspire you or motivate you. You got to get that motivation within yourself and understand the journey that you want to achieve and go on that journey, man.
All right, well, we're at about time. Do you have any final questions for the boys?
No, that's pretty much it.
Any final parting words? How do people find Legacy? How do they become a part of it?
Hey, okay, so all you really need to do is jump on over to our Instagram. You'll be able to find Legacy Through Movement. It's got all the click links in there on the page. There's also contact details as far as mobile number and email goes there too. So if you're looking to come and try some functional strength or do a handstand and get upside down, definitely come hit us up. You'll get to see us attempt the same thing.
Amazing. Doing God's work out there. Love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, boys.
Thank you. Guys.
We appreciate it, brothers. It's an absolute honor to be on this
Absolutely.
podcast and
Thank you.
just chat and vibe out with you boys. Like Jezza said, you guys are inspiration to us in the way that you train and in terms of business as well, how you conduct yourself, Tom, and you've got multiple franchises across the country. Like, you guys inspire us, and we're just a small business trying to do our thing and add value to our community. So it's an honor to be here, and thank you to everyone for watching and listening.
Thank you very much.
I've got one question.
Oh, hit it.
Who can we get on for the next potty? You guys have got some plugs.
Ooh.
Who do you know? Who can we get?
What are you trying to catch up with?
Well, let me drop a few names. I've seen they tag you in their stories.
Oh.
Or like them, you follow each other. Hattie Boydle,
Okay.
Steve Cook,
Easy.
and what's his wife's name?
Morgan.
Morgan.
I don't know if they're actually here at the moment.
Oh.
I mean, it's definitely something I could look into. But I think they've been having troubles with their visas and whatnot, trying to get over to the US or try to get Steve here.
Mm-hmm.
But Hattie's definitely a G, and she's always down to share her journey with the world as well. So might be able to link that one up for sure.
Sweet, let's go.
Hey,
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
thank you, man.
Thank you so much for listening to the Zero Podcast. If you want more information, head to our Instagram, Zero_weakness. Hit the link in the bio for all of our services and any information on upcoming workshops and events. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review so we can have a broader reach and answer more people's questions. Thank you once more.